All right, so this is a suggestion via Discord. The name of the video is Republican mayor in battleground state is endorsing Kamala Harris. Here's why. Let's check it out. Let's see where this takes us, guys.
Since the Republican Party transformed itself into what some would call the Trump Party, it has become increasingly rare.
That's valid.
To see Republicans who speak out against the former president and, of course, the Republican nominee. There have been a few over the years. I mean, we've seen retired Congressman Adam Kinzinger, a Republican, outspoken about the former president's dangers to democracy. He even sat, if you recall, on the January 6th committee. Former GOP Congresswoman Liz Cheney, another critic who also served on that same committee. There's also Jeff Duncan, the former Republican lieutenant governor of Georgia, who speaks out quite frequently about the former president. And one thing in common with those three, well, none are currently in office. So what's exceptionally rare are sitting Republicans who do speak out. And even more rare, sitting Republicans who speak out and then go on to endorse a Democrat. But tonight, we have that for you here.
I'm gonna be honest, that's not really that surprising. Okay, I think like a lot of the old school Republicans, like specifically how the Republican Party was before Trump entered into it, like a wrecking ball, basically, right? He changed everything, everything. I think personally. Outsider looking in here, guys, keep this in mind, right? I do think that really was the reality. I think a lot of like the old school Republicans are either now Democrats. I think so, at least. So does it surprise me? I guess it depends on what state he's from. I think it would be more important based off of Arizona. Okay, yeah, I think that's a big deal. That's a really big deal, I think, yes. But let's go and check it out. Let's see what
the Republican mayor of Mesa, Arizona, John Giles, with a piece out today endorsing Kamala Harris. And he's here with me now. Mayor Giles, welcome. You know, you're really perhaps putting yourself out there with this endorsement. I do wonder, what has compelled you to do so?
I don't know.
You know, it was with a lot of thought. You know, I'm certainly not anxious. I am a Republican, and
Okay.
I enjoy endorsing Republicans. So this was a very considered step to take. And I also, as a mayor, you know, I love to not get involved in partisan politics at all when I can avoid it. Mayors like to focus on solving problems and on city issues and on, you know, being in the middle of between the 20-yard lines on all the things that there are consensus on. So this was not something that I was excited to do or necessarily looking to do. But, you know, occasionally there are issues and questions that we're presented with in life that are just too compelling to be silent. And I knew that if I you know, had to sleep at night, and that I couldn't do that well if I didn't speak out and express my disappointment in the Republican nominee.
Have there been some who have expressed disappointment in your decision to come forward and endorse Kamala Harris?
Probably everybody. Like every single person. I honestly don't understand the allure to Kamala Harris, guys. I don't get it. It just doesn't make any sense to me. And it definitely doesn't make any sense that any modern Republican would do what he's doing here, guys. It literally just does not make any sense.
Absolutely. Yeah, and that's to be expected. But what I didn't necessarily expect was the tremendous response that I got today from people in my party and in my community expressing support for the op-ed that I published.
Okay.
Let's talk about the why. Why
Please.
You are supporting Kamala Harris and rejecting Donald Trump, who is a Republican. What is the reason that you find her to be the preference and the preferred candidate over even Trump?
Well, I think that there's a minimum bar for elected officials in this country, and you know, having to do with character, having to do with commitment to the rule of law and the Constitution. And I don't feel like Mr. Trump gets over that low bar. And at the same time, I do think that the vice president is a good alternative. The contrast between the two of them is stark, and President Trump does not compare well. There are many issues that, again, being a Republican, I differ with the vice president on. But what, to me, is the compelling reason to support her is that I don't question that at the top of her agenda is what is in the best interest of the United States. I honestly can't say that I think that's the case with Mr. Trump.
Your words speak.
Guys, I absolutely think that the Constitution is perfect. Okay, it is what represents us as Americans, guys. I think that it is an amazing document, and this is basically what we live by, right? So I think when I do hear people start talking about things that are completely unconstitutional, I'm like, bro, what do you mean by that? Like, for what country are you trying to promote here, right? But the funny thing is that I think that this is coming from both sides in this instance, though, right? I definitely think that occasionally some of the videos you guys sent me from Fox, I think there was a guy who said the other day, I think Jesse Waters, he was saying a lot of things. He was like, bro, do you not like, how do you feel about getting rid of this? Bro, no, this is against our Constitution. That's not a thing, bro, right? Obviously, that specific thing does not represent, obviously, the entire Republican Party, guys, but I hear some crazy things sometimes, all right? And the left says also some absolutely crazy things that just make no sense. So, but all right, let's get
Volumes, and I know you've written and talked about election denialism as perhaps one reason to reject him. And, you know, Trump made comments over the weekend saying Christians won't have to vote again if he gets back in the White House. Here he is, by the way, tonight, trying to clean up those remarks. Mayor, listen.
And I think everybody understood it. I didn't know there was any.
Yeah, well, I mean, because it's the constant refrain. I mean, after they have done all the things that we've talked about tonight.
Horrible.
All of the things.
Russia, all the things.
And dump their guy of 52 years, just dump him to the side. So they do all that, and then they say, well, no, you can't vote for him because he's literally never going to leave office. They're actually still saying that.
Yeah. It's just unbelievable.
But you will leave office after 4 years.
By the way, and I did last time.
Do you think that he would leave office at the end of his term if he is elected, given your concerns about election denialism and his comments about voting today?
Yes. If he's elected, it is what it is. Because if he's elected, then he becomes president. The reality, all the votes are counted. Whatever it is, he wins. He goes into the White House. When his term is done, he leaves. That's the reality. I'm not sure that the American public would be completely fine with that, regardless of the sides. Or, I mean, if the people who do not like our Constitution will probably rush in and be like, no, let them stay a little bit longer, right? But other than that, I think it'll be the final test, right? It'll be the final test. Who would back him not leaving? That would be the extremely concerning group. Okay, if you would back him not leaving the White House, then we have a problem. Okay, that's it.
No, I don't. You know, as I was writing this op-ed that ran in the Arizona Republic this morning, I remember at one point I had a phrase in the op-ed where I said, if Donald Trump's elected, I fear this might be the last free and fair election of my lifetime. And I struck it out because I thought, you know what, that's a little hyperbolic. That's more than needs to be said. And then, you know, he makes this statement saying that once I'm elected and I'm enthroned, you know, we won't need elections any longer. So sometimes Donald Trump says the quiet part out loud, and we have to believe him. And I think this is one of those.
But I personally think that, like, I would give it a strong 40% of whatever Donald Trump says is sarcastic and is not to even be looked into deeply.
Those occasions that we got some real insight into what his priorities are.
There are many who will say that the conversation itself is hyperbolic, and then you hear statements that he's made, and you have to wonder which came first, the chicken or the egg in these conversations. You know, one of Harris's potential contenders for her running mate happens to come from your state, Mark Kelly, the senator. Would you want to see him in that VP spot?
Absolutely. I've had the privilege of working with Senator Kelly. He's the real, you know, John Glenn, right stuff person. And he would make an excellent vice president. So I haven't spoken to him about this, but I do know him well. He's very talented, He does a deep dive into everything. This would not be the type of vice president you just send to funerals. You know, he's a very capable person. I could see him being the Secretary of Defense and the Vice President at the same time, because he's very, very capable.
Well, that would be two daunting tasks at once. Let's see, maybe you can do either or if, in fact, she chooses him in the end. Mayor Giles, nice to speak with you. Thank you for joining me tonight.
Thank you for the invitation.
Yeah, guys, I definitely did not expect for this to happen, right? I definitely expected more Democrats to specifically be leaving the Democrat Party to go Republican, but I just I couldn't see a Republican specifically leaving. I guess well, it's not the same thing. I guess this is still right then, right? So we recently had a Democrat mayor in Texas that has decided to become Republican, right? But this Republican is absolutely not giving up his Republican, the letter next to his name. He's not doing that. He's just saying, I'm going to just endorse a Democrat for president. I'm not sure that his party is going to be too, okay with this here. I mean, sitting there thinking about it here, guys. He's probably going to be pushed out at any time now, because that's crazy. I can't imagine, specifically with the current state of the Republican Party, at least, guys. He just seems like an old school Republican, right? Back before politics were less hateful, right? I'm sure if you guys are old enough, you guys remember these times where people could sit down at a table where, your aunt or uncle had a different political view than you, and you were able to have a intelligent conversation without it turning into a screaming match, right? I'm guessing he's a Republican from those times, guys. I didn't think that there were any more of these guys left, right? But again, I also want to point out I do not endorse Kamala Harris, so I don't even know. I'm still trying to find why someone would still do that, right? But either way, if you guys know, let me know, because I do not understand the allure to Kamala Harris. I don't get it, right? And I definitely try to look at both sides of these situations at all times, guys. But all right, listen, you guys all have an absolutely amazing day. Enjoy your day thoroughly.
Guys, before we go, are you guys subscribed to the other channels? Logical Movie Reviews with Mr. L. Boyd, along with Mr. L. Boyd Music. Both are found in the description. Check it out.